Most people know Shaquille O'Neal because of his dominance on the court. But he has done some insane things besides basketball. From being attacked by a shark, over conducting an orchestra, to having his own video game. These are some of the craziest stories you didn't know about Shaq. And by the way, that shark attack was no joke. You would think that a 7'1" giant like Shaq wasn't afraid of anything, but that's actually not true. The one fear he always had was sharks, but instead of running away from it, Shaq decided to face it. So they had to build an extra large cage for him to fit in, and fittingly called it the Shaq cage. And when he was equipped and ready, O'Neal went in the cage and got to see the shark swimming right in front of him. Well, normally they just swim around the cage, until all of a sudden this happened. A small shark actually got into Shaq's cage, but he was able to keep his cool and now can officially say that he survived a shark attack. Only very few people have done that. But something that pretty much no one has done is showing up to work in your underwear. After Shaq became a broadcaster for TNT, he made a bet with Isaiah Thomas that Dwight Howard would not drop a double-double in the game. Unfortunately for him, he lost that bet and therefore had to show up to work without any pants on. That meant O'Neal had to go on camera in front of a national US audience in nothing but his skivvies. In other words, Shaq was nearly nude in front of millions of people on live TV. Afterwards, his co-workers posted videos of it on Twitter and Instagram. Only Shaq could do something like this without getting fired. And while it might have been uncomfortable for him, it was hilarious to watch. But now, let me ask you something. Have you ever seen something like this? Well, it turns out Shaq is not only a basketball player but also a wrestler. In 2009, he was a guest host of WWE's Monday Night Raw, where he got into his first altercation with the wrestler Big Show. It's just funny that Shaq made him look small despite Big Show also being 7 feet tall. Later in 2016, O'Neal actually took part in his first ever match at WrestleMania 32. But his most important match came in the AEW, which is another wrestling league, where Shaq got slammed through 2 tables. Afterwards, they put him in an ambulance, but he was too tall for it, so he had to bend his legs so they could close the door. But something that no one is too tall for is conducting an orchestra. And that's exactly what Shaq did. It really seems like there's nothing this man hasn't done. When he signed with the Boston Celtics in 2010, he was having a lot of fun and did many things off the court. One funny moment happened when a Boston Pops opera allowed O'Neal to play the conductor role for a cool visual. Shaq seemed to really enjoy exploring new areas outside of basketball and saw this as a perk to his Boston time. Just look at him go, that's inspirational. Now, we still have many more stories to go, like when Shaq was almost killed, or when his dad made him drink a 12-pack of beer at age 13. So watch until the end. But now we have to talk about Shaq's crazy spending habits. If you just received your first ever check in the NBA, what would you do? Most players would think about how to invest it wisely. Well, the big diesel didn't need much time to think. When he signed his first NBA contract with the Orlando Magic in 1992, he quickly spent $1 million in under an hour. Most people don't even make $1 million in their entire lifetimes. However, from Shaq's point of view, he grew up in relative poverty and saw his mother and father working extremely hard to support their son. So rather than spending the first $1 million he ever made on a car, house or clothes for himself, Shaq spent it on his parents. He ensured that they were comfortable and moved them to a nice neighborhood while allowing them to quit their jobs. But something that hasn't been as successful as O'Neal's basketball career is his acting career.
This is how I go from Shaquille to Shakur. Get it?
Shaq is most known for his outgoing personality, and that is exactly what he tried to use when he decided to join the movie industry. He played serious roles in the films Blue Chips, Kazam, Steel and Uncle Drew. In Blue Chips, Shaq plays a college basketball star who is receiving illegal money from other schools. This is his best rated movie. Meanwhile, in Kazam, O'Neal plays a rapping genie attempting to help a young boy by fulfilling some really weird wishes, like letting fast food rain from the sky. And yeah, that movie has the worst rating. Shaq has also acted in the movies Jack and Jill, Grown Ups 2 and Scary Movie 4. And even though he didn't become a successful actor, it's definitely worth mentioning. But what if I told you that O'Neal had a successful career in another area? That's right, because back in the 90s, Shaq was a serious rapper. He started when he was just 1 year into the NBA and chose the MC name Shaq Fu. He went on to produce 5 studio rap albums, and it was far from being just a hobby. Shaq signed with 4 different recording labels, including Interscope Records, the same label of rappers such as Tupac, Dr. Dre and Eminem. His debut album, which appeared in 1993, received platinum certification by selling over 1 million copies. But the best is yet to come. O'Neal was chosen by Michael Jackson to be a guest rapper on the song Too Bad, and he produced the song with the notorious Big called Can't Stop the Rain. But wait, this is where the story gets crazy and maybe even scary. See, Biggie and Shaq actually became close friends, and Shaq actually should have been with him the night he was killed. Biggie invited him to attend an after party and O'Neal was planning on coming there. But he fell asleep at home, and when a call from his mother woke him up at 4 AM, he heard the news that his friend was dead.
Said I'm slamming brothers like Shaquille. It is real. And you know, I just think I was fortunate enough to say that I knew him. Fortunate enough to say that, you know, he blessed me with 32 bars.
This is making me kinda sad, so let's talk about something that made Shaq even more iconic. Because I bet you didn't know that he has his own video game. The Big Diesel loved to play video games throughout his college career, so he decided to tap into that industry too. Called like his MC name, Shaq Fu was a beat-em-up fighting video game in the 90s that was hated at the time but became a cult favorite in later years. In 2018, the repackaged version, Shaq Fu A Legend Reborn, was released for modern consoles and is still sold at major video game stores today. In the game, you're playing a Kung Fu master Shaq who is fighting evil zombies. But Shaq isn't just fighting evil in video games, because he actually became a police officer. I'm still trying to find something this man hasn't done yet. By the way, we only have 3 more stories to go, so stick until the end, because the last story is as crazy as it gets.
Team is more important than any one of us. If you have what it takes to join the Los Angeles Port Police, come on.
This all started for Shaq when he attended the Los Angeles Country's Reserve Academy in 2005. Despite having already been traded to the Miami Heat from the Los Angeles Lakers, O'Neal was given the title of US Deputy Marshal by the LA County. Though after he made his way to Miami, he would once again cross paths with the law. In that same year, he would track down a man who reportedly assaulted a homosexual couple. After proper authorities could apprehend the accused man, the Miami Beach police made him an honorary police officer. Furthermore, Shaq participated in the raid of a residential home in Virginia alongside SWAT officials and was dubbed the honorary deputy of the task force. Imagine a 7'1" guy storming your house. I'd lay on the ground without them having to say it. Fun fact, Shaq earns $1 a year for his police services. But something that makes the Big Diesel $0 is dancing. We have already talked about Shaq's passion for music, and well, this is also true for dancing. In fact, he is dancing almost everywhere. Despite his height, he can move like only a few people can. Do you know that one guy at every party who always grooves to the music? That's definitely him. O'Neal had quite a lot of dancing appearances, including multiple performances with the professional dance crew Jabberwockies, a great dance-off at the 2007 NBA All-Star Game, and frequent uploads on his social media account, where he shows off his moves to viral songs. But his most important event came when he dueled a young Justin Bieber.
I was Shaq to a dance-off, we split off by dancers.
I don't like to beat up on the kids, but I want that.
By the way, if you enjoy this type of content, you could help me by liking and subscribing. But now, let's continue with our final story, and this time, it's about Shaq's father. His dad's name is Joseph Tony, and he was a good basketball player. Unfortunately, he was also a drug addict who went to jail when Shaq was very young, resulting in a strained to almost no relationship with his dad. When O'Neal became famous, his father started reaching out, but Shaq was not interested. He went further and openly expressed how he felt about his father in a 1994 rap song, Biological Didn't Bother. It was not until in 2016 that Shaq finally agreed to meet his biological dad. But this isn't where the story ends, because Shaq had a father who taught him a lot. Philip Arthur Harrison was an army sergeant who became part of O'Neal's family and raised him from a boy to a man. And despite him having weird methods, his teachings stuck with Shaq. See, when Shaq was 13, his father caught him drinking beer with his cousins, so he made him drink a 12-pack of beer. And while this sounds absolutely absurd, it worked. Since then, O'Neal developed a hatred for alcohol and never got into trouble because of too much liquor. This is definitely a crazy story you didn't know about Shaq. So now you know about Shaquille O'Neal, but you still don't know how NBA players got their jersey number. One player got his because of a position. So check out this video if you want to know more. Just click on the screen. I'll see you there.